Tour Junkies.
What's going on, golf addicts? Welcome to the final betting preview show of 2024, the RSM Classic from lovely Sea Island. I'm your boy DB coming at you. Pat Perry with me off of his raw dog solo retreat or whatever it was to a hole in Jackson's hole. We didn't do the show last week, and we're sorry. Okay, stuff happened. Stuff came up. Pat had to get away from me and from you the whole week and go do some fishing on his own and take a break, I guess, from me. So we're back. We're back this week and we're pumped. We're going to talk about our favorite betting picks, some top 20s, some DraftKings thoughts, and of course, the Thursday Night Football PGA Tour Parlay, which yours truly hit on the last episode that we did. I don't even remember what show that was, but I hit it. And I got a big one to go out on this week, Pat. It's a monster, but I feel really good about it. Like really good.
I feel pretty good about mine too. I feel pretty good about mine.
Pat's using his throwback setup too. We'll get into Pat's. We'll get into the life of Pat here in just a second. I want to thank our friends at Swannies for being so awesome. Just so awesome. This shirt that I have on right here, this 3/4 zip thing is beautiful. And as part of the Stadium Collection, you can get you a little bit of that Stadium Collection action over at swannies.co. They've got a new Western Birch collab. The Black Swan drop hit a couple of weeks ago. More collabs. The Stadium Village collection is what I love. You need to get it for the fall, for the winter season. They got stuff for kids, women's. They got it all. Okay, so check out swannies.co. Code TJ25 gets you 25% off your entire order, and you need to get it in right now. Black Friday's shopping is about to start. What do they do? Tuesday? It's like next Tuesday will be the big online
Cyber Tuesday.
Cyber Monday.
Cyber Monday. Why'd you put a Tuesday in there?
I don't know. I was thinking of something. It's like Giving Tuesday or something, right? That's what they do. They do like a Giving Tuesday thing. But Swannies TJ25 gets you 25% off your entire order. Shop for your kids, your spouse, significant other, whatever. Get them something nice and save 25% off in the process. We appreciate Swannies partnering with the podcast in 2024. So Pat, you got the throwback background on, dude. You're very retro tour junkies right now. You got the old polo. That's one of our first polos we ever did. Look at you.
Just going back to the roots of TJ this week. I'm down in the wine cellar. I got the background here. The studio's going through some changes. So we'll be back with a new setup here in 2025. But I feel like I'm all about some tree animals today. Like, I got a squirrel on, I got an owl on my head.
Oh yeah, you did. I didn't even know.
So it's tree animals. That's what I'm about today.
Yeah, I love it. Old Barnwell, beautiful place. That's rocking the hat there. And as always, thinking about our tree friends, still mad about Peanut the squirrel. Pat, I've actually found myself driving down there. I used to never avoid. I don't know if you do this or not, but like if the squirrel's darting in front of you, are you a swerver? Are you a stopper? Are you trying to let the squirrel go, or do you just kind of roll on and like?
No, I'm usually like slam on the brakes. Like I got to save this squirrel. I don't think I swerve though. I try not to swerve because you don't want to put yourself in danger. But I definitely don't just like chance it and just see what happens. And sometimes if I'm not paying attention and it's just like, that the thing darts and there is nothing you can do, you just have to roll through.
Yeah,
it can be really sad.
They're so indecisive. So I feel like if I ever tried to swerve, I'd end up swerving into his move that he's anticipating me to make. That he thinks then I'm anticipating him to make, and then I'm anticipating him anticipating me, and it's just this whole problem. And then and I hit him, and now I feel bad. So I've actually never been a swerver, and I'm usually not even a breaker. I usually just let the carts fall where they may. If this guy wants to try his luck, he tries it. That's what I've always been my whole life, and I've kind of made fun of people that do what you do and slam on brakes. But honestly, since the whole Peanut situation, I have avoided squirrel, and we got a lot of them around here where I'm at. So I've avoided a lot of squirrel fatalities that just thinking about Peanut, which I think that's part of Peanut's legacy. You don't know how many people around this country are doing that and saving lives of thousands of squirrels because all they could think about is sweet little peanut in his cowboy hat being taken from his home by a SWAT team and murdered. So at least we know that's happening, and I'm excited about that. Before we get into the golf course and stuff, Pat, tell us about your visit to Mr. Jackson's Hole.
Yeah, wonderful place, Mr. Jackson's Hole in Wyoming. Went there for about, I don't know, 4 or 5 days. Did a little fly fishing. Drove around in the snow. Took some pictures in the mountains.
Oh, dude. Okay, hold on. First, sorry, I just thought about this. Your driving is already like very high strung OCD. You sit up on the steering wheel like an Asian lady. You're 10 and 2 when you're not doing this on the road. And then if you're in the snow, how did that affect you? And you were by yourself.
Yeah, it's a little more white knuckle. I was in a Jeep, not like a Wrangler. It was just like a Cherokee,
Okay.
But it was but it wasn't a lot of
Savannah, right? No snow in Savannah.
Yeah, we don't get snow in Savannah.
Yeah.
I think we've had it one time since I've lived here, but I will say there wasn't a lot of snow on the roads yet, so I didn't really feel that uncomfortable. But just a beautiful area. Jackson Hole, the town, is really cool. They had a bar that you sat on. Saddlebags like that go on a horse.
Yeah.
And it was real awkward. Like you sit there and you couldn't really like turn a lot of different directions to see the band that was playing. So I ended up doing, I mean, I guess it's kind of a female thing, but I ended up side saddling and so I could see the band because it was like it was.
Does that mean are you betting Patrick Rogers this week for that? Then
I guess so. Maybe I am.
If you side saddle, your legs are together, right? Like they're squished.
No, kind of, but I stood up sort of and side saddled. Like I was more like leaning on the saddle.
Don't you lie? Don't you lie, dude.
I mean, it almost feels like you're doing a stretch exercise to try to see the band. When you were sitting like, regular saddle. I mean, it was almost like you're really sitting on a horse.
Turn around and look at the band or something, right?
You can't move it.
Go reverse
saddle.
But yeah. I mean, but can't you turn around on the saddle? Like I could turn around on a saddle on a horse and have my back.
Your waist has to turn. You can't turn your feet and everything.
I'm saying you could saddle it the other direction. You know what I mean? Like instead of if I'm getting on a horse and the horse's head's down here, I just do it where the horse is this way.
No, because the band is this. The band is to your left.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
See, the bar is facing straight ahead of you. The band is to the left.
Okay.
And I wanted to see the band, so I side saddled it. But it was a cool place. Great restaurants there. I had an elk for the first time. Elk was really good. Tasted a lot like steak, but I had some elk.
Oh, I've heard that's great. Did you feel like Joe Rogan more after you did that?
Is that what he eats? A lot of elk?
Yeah, he's a huge elk guy.
Elk eater. I don't think I felt like Joe Rogan, but I enjoyed it. So good times and got to get away. Okay. And that was good.
Catch fish. So, you didn't bring any show and tell pictures to the stream today?
I should have brought one, but I didn't. Yeah, caught some fish. It's hard fly fishing, man. Especially in the fall when it's a little bit chillier. They don't move as much.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of things. I learned more about fly fishing while I was out there than actually catching fish, but that was good. So
praise God. Well, we're happy to have you back. It's we love this week. We love the RSM. We usually are at the RSM. We've been multiple times. We got a lot of friends and I'll say family in Sea Island. We got some good friends that we would consider family down there in Sea Island. Of course, Sea Island Mafia is down there. We know a lot of those guys. It's a great tournament, great week. It does look like it's going to be a chilly one. I will say that, Pat. I was looking at the forecast. It looks a little Adam Svensson year-esque down there at St. Simon's or Sea Island, Georgia, and the Golden Isles. Could be, looks like some fresh wind on Thursday and Friday, some cooler temperatures. But we're hearing some things already from our friends there, boots on the ground. And, we know this golf course quite well. It's Seaside. It's the Plantation course. They're each going to play one round on each for the first 2 rounds, make the cut, top 65 and ties, and then everybody on the weekend will play Seaside, which is the par 70. We won't get a whole lot into the golf courses, but if you do look on Bet the Number, you'll see the stats. I've got here the last 3 years checked for the RSM Classic. it's one of the easier golf courses on the PGA Tour. Seaside can be when you don't have the weather that we've had. Maybe not last year, but the year before, certainly. Higher fairways and regulation numbers, higher greens and regulation numbers, then it kind of becomes this like Bermuda putting contest at times. But if you look at all the guys who finished in the top 5 over the last 3 years, a lot of approach, a lot of strong putting performances. And I would say relative to a lot of courses that we look at, I think there's a lot of green here in the around the green numbers. Even though the green and regulation numbers are higher than normal, it seems to matter a little bit. You gotta get up and down with the windy conditions. It might be a round or two that it matters more so than others. But you had Ludwig win last year at 29 under, which was bananas for how I think actually last year was a little cold and windy too, but not as bad as the Svensson year we were there. That's one of the coldest I've ever been on a golf course is the year Svensson won. It's definitely not a bomber's paradise, despite Ludwig Aberg doing what he did last year. I mean, he didn't necessarily bomb it around that place, but this is a generous fairways, shorter course overall. Doesn't do much of a service to a guy who hits it super long compared to everybody else. And you can see here the approach shot distribution. All this is important information as we make our models on Bet the Number. I made DB's model, and I got to say, Pat, I like my model better than the Bet the Number model this week. So I made it public. The people can look at it. Spent some time on it last night. I'm happy with it. I like what it's spitting out, and I feel good about the week. So all things you need to consider when you're handicapping golf courses. It would be a weird time to sign up for Bet the Number because obviously this is the last major golf tournament of 2024. But if you want to, you should. Click the link in the description below. Code TJ saves you $5 off every month or $50 off annual subscriptions. Lots of new features already being dropped, kind of sprinkled in without a whole lot of fanfare yet on Bet the Number. You'll notice some prop tools this week. Now that we have ShotLink, you'll notice some prop tools on the live leaderboard tracking and a lot of new things dropping for January 2025 that we're excited to tell you about and partner with Bet the Number in 2025 yet again. So go ahead and get involved. Get in on that. Click the link in the description, code TJ, to hook it up. Pat, anything else you think we need to know about these golf courses, or should we move on?
No, I mean, we can move on. You think you did a pretty good job there. It's funny how we end on, a 2-course setup. We have this stretch at the beginning of the year where it feels like we have one every other week, but both great courses. Definitely when you get on Plantation, you got to score. But I think there's scoreable holes on Seaside as you can tell by Ludwig getting to 29 under. So,
well, since the renovation, the last few years, the courses have really played quite similarly. They play a lot closer to each other than they used to before the renovation. But yeah, Ludwig at 29 is wild. Svensson, the year he won, the year we keep referring to when we were there, and it was just so miserable cold.
Yeah,
he shot 19 under, and I thought that was insane considering how cold and windy that place was. Taylor Gooch won the year before that at 22, and then the 2 years prior was Streb and Tyler Duncan also at 19 under. We have heard a little bit from boots on the ground. We'll share everything we get, of course, in the Discord, but we've heard the course is a little soft right now, that it's quite receptive, playing pretty soft, and that's going to improve scoring conditions despite some of the wind and cold weather. So we just need to keep an eye out on that forecast. If the forecast stays windy and cold these first 2 days, I think it's going to be tougher than normal. But I still think with the course being as soft as it is, we're going to see something between that 19 and 29. I don't think we're going to get a 29 under again, but maybe a 22 like the Gooch year could be kind of a target score. So still making plenty of birdies. Got to do your thing, hitting plenty of fairways, hitting all your greens, as many as you can, and then chipping and putting on these Bermuda surfaces. Going to be important for Sea Island. But of course, it's a home game for so many guys, right? And that always comes up too: is it a benefit? Is it a curse? That's a storyline for some of these guys, and we've talked to a lot of guys at Sea Island that kind of look at it both ways. You got a lot of demand, you got parties going on. We were there last year or I was there last year, I think. You weren't there, right? Was it just me? I was the only one at the party, at that party on Wednesday night or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I was there for that, but I feel like I was there at some point.
All the players were there, so many obligations, and that can, again, like I said, work in some's favor, some it's not. And then you've got the storylines with getting in that Aon Next 10 or whatever it is, the 51 through 60 spots to get into those first 2 signature events for 2025. You've got the top 125 cutoff for your full status next year. You've got the top 126 to 150 cutoff for the conditional status. Lots of bubble boys. You've got the top 50 world golf ranking that comes into play for a few Masters invites, notable Masters names that are either right there on that top 50 or just outside of it that are not currently in the field at Augusta. It's not their last chance to get in, but it's obviously something that they could lock up right here and get that nice little invitation in the mail without having to worry about it in 2025. So lots of different bubbles going on, lots of different things to consider there, lots of different motivating factors for these guys to be here. And a lot of players playing this week because it's a home game and because it's the RSM, even though they don't have to. Guys who are already in that top, top 50, who have everything locked up, who aren't playing for points, they're just playing for money. So there's a lot of different things to consider when handicapping the golf course. Let's get into it. Our top 5 favorite outright bets. Pat, I'm going to start.
Okay.
It's been a theme all fall for me I can't quit this guy, and he's been very consistent. I'd say he's played quite consistently, and he is a multiple PGA Tour winner, and I'm going to keep riding it. He's got back-to-back top 5s at this golf course when he's played it 2021 and 2022. I'm going back to Seamus Power at 33 to 1 on FanDuel is the best number I can find. Hits plenty of fairways, top 25 in approach play between 125 and 175 on my Bet the Number model. Overall, he's number 8 on my Bet the Number model. And by the way, let me say this. If you do look at my model on Bet the Number, one of the new features is if there's not enough data for a guy, Bet the Numbers is indicating that by showing you there's not enough data. And they're kind of throwing him out of the ranking. I did a very recency bias model this week. Not a ton of long-term stuff for me in the model. So you're going to see a lot of players with not enough data, and that's by design for me. That's just how I'm approaching the week. So you can tail that or you can fade that however you want. Seamus has been playing a lot. I kind of prefer the guys who've been playing a lot this fall. So you'll see that. And Seamus checks a lot of those boxes. So I'm going Seamus at 33 to 1.
Well, I like Seamus also. I had him written down. So we'll start off with some agreement. And I think he's a great bet at 33 to 1 on FanDuel. So I'm with you there. On the shorter end for me, I'm going to go with Davis Thompson. This was actually where I believe Davis made his pro debut back several years ago. I think he's a different player than if you go back and look at, his history here. He hasn't necessarily been, that great here. He's missed several cuts in a row, T53 last year. Coming off of the 5th place finish at the Shriners, shows up very well in the BTN model. He's 12th overall in the BTN model. I think Davis Thompson's in play this week at 22 to 1. I'd like that number to be a little bit better. Like if I could get 25 to 1, I'd really hammer it. But I do think Davis Thompson is a good bet there, 22 to
1. So if you look back at, I was looking at DT because I've been a big DT fan. We love DT, Sea Island boy as well. Going back to the 2023 RSM, he had one top 10 on the PGA Tour that season. That was the near miss runner-up finish at the Amex back in January or whatever that was. That was the only top 10 he'd had before that. So clearly a different player because, you look at him now. He's had 5 top 10s in this season, technically this season, with 2 runner-ups and a win. Clearly a different player. I chose to stay away from the top mainly just because a lot of those guys I just would rather see play more recently, but I get it. I totally get it. I love me some Davis Thompson.
Okay, good.
I'm going to go with the Husky fella. I'm going with a guy that I'd love to see him break through. And at 40 to 1, it doesn't feel amazing. He's 40 to 1 on FanDuel, but in this field, I think I like it. I like it. He's coming off a runner-up finish at the Butterfield Bermuda this past week. Checks the box in a lot of approach play. Good scrambler on Bermuda. I'm going with Andrew Novak. I'm going with old thick boy, Thicky Novak. I like him.
Okay. What were the odds there for Novak?
He's 40 to 1 on FanDuel.
Okay, 40 to 1. So we've both kind of had our guys this fall, I feel like. You with Seamus.
I know what you're going to say.
And me with this guy. Ben Griffin.
I like
so
it.
You get 35-1, by the way, on FanDuel right now for Ben Griffin. He's fourth in the BTN model. He's top 10 in approach, second in putting, top 10 in approach from 100 to 175 yards. Checks the box also in around the green play, which I know you mentioned early on. Has played really well this fall, coming off of the 8th place finish in Bermuda. He's finished T29 and T8 in the 2 times that he has played here at the RSM Classic the last 2 years. So I think it's a place that he likes, that he feels comfortable on. So Ben Griffin, 35-1 will be my next favorite play for this week.
I like Ben G. I left him for you. I figured you were going to take Ben G. Totally agree with there. I mean, he's also the guy who's got the course record at Plantation, or it's one or the other. Remember that summer that he holed out from it was like right before he got his tour card, he holed out from the fairway to shoot a 58 or something at one of those courses. Quite familiar with this place. Can definitely go low. The driver in the wind scares me a little bit for Ben, but he's just hot right now. So I think it's worth it. Dude, I'm going to jump up to 70-1 here.
Oh, don't take him from me.
Sorry. I'm not. 55. My bad. Okay. 55-1 on FanDuel. This guy is hitting 70% of his fairways. Okay, 70%. Gains over around a half a stroke per round versus the field in approach play. Hitting an average of 74% of his greens in regulation versus tour average of 65%. All this per bet the number. Okay, all that's great. You're like, oh man, this guy's hitting it in the fairway, hitting a lot of greens in regulation. Then he must be what? A terrible putter.
Mm-hmm.
And he is, except on a lot of courses similar to Sea Island and at Sea Island. I'm talking about past champ, backed it up with a T5 last year in 2023, the dumb Canadian Adam Svensson. I am buying Adam Svensson, winner on the tour, winner here. In the 5 years he's played here, he's positive like 9.5 strokes gained putting on this golf course, which is nuts for him because he sucks putting everywhere else. But if you're scrolling through Bet the Number, you'll see a lot of dark red and pink in the putting category for Adam Svensson. Not good. When you start to see bright green, it's on a lot of courses with similar putting surfaces. Grainy Bermuda. The Wyndham this past year was the last time he was positive in strokes gained putting that we had shot link, and he gained almost 7 strokes putting. RBC Heritage gained 2 strokes putting. Sanderson Farms in 2023 gained strokes putting. The Wyndham gained 4. The Wyndham the year before gained 5.5. Like he's got these courses that the API gained 3 in 2023. He seems to like him some Bermuda. Not sure the connection with the Canadian, but he likes these surfaces. I think he's comfortable on these surfaces. And we know he's a winner. We know he can close, and he can close here. So I'm going Adam Svensson, 55-1.
Okay. I don't mind that either. There's kind of a theme for me also. I'm sort of staying in the shorter range. So the next guy I'm going to talk about is at 33-1 on FanDuel. He's not really going to show up great in the model. I haven't seen what he looks like in your model, DB, but he doesn't show up great in the BTN model. But Harris English at 33-1, I think makes some sense. Now, I think if you really were to kind of drill it down to more of his last 12 rounds or so, it's probably going to look a lot better when it comes to his stats.
Well, he's 10th in my model. And again, like I said, it's quite recency heavy. So that's
yeah. So he's 88th in the BTN model, but he's 10th in yours. So you can kind of get an idea there, the difference, because I think it's going a little bit too far back maybe on his form. But Harris English has been really good lately. I like that number at 33-1. Literally top 15s in his last 3 events that he's played in the fall. Has played well here at the RSM Classic. So Harris English 33-1 will be my 4th favorite play, and I have one final after that.
I thought you were going here. 70-1. Is this the one?
This is the one I knew you were going to take from me.
70-1 on FanDuel. Fellow to Harris English to Ben Griffin. I think actually Novak now as well. Sea Island Mafia member and friend of the podcast, Grayson Sig. Is that where
that was it? That was it. That was my last one.
I mean, he's had a great fall. I think he's already kind of getting some steam. I've already seen some early conversation with him about him on X. Coming off of 8th place finish, 15th place finish here the last 2 years, T9 at the Butterfield, having a wonderful fall, which is great to see for Siggy. We freaking love that guy. Great player, but checking a lot of boxes. Iron play's been better, especially from that key range. He checks that box. He's hitting a lot of fairways. He's currently 4th in my model in driving accuracy percentage. We know he can scramble on Bermuda. We've seen it firsthand. It's unbelievable. So if he gets some putts to drop, which, at this place, this is where he should get some putts to drop, and he definitely has the last 2 years, which is good to see. Sig at 70-1. We'd love to see a breakout win here. We've seen breakout wins at this golf course by plenty of guys. I mean, listen, if Tyler Duncan can win here, Svensson's breakout win was here. Actually, technically, Ludwig's first win on the PGA Tour was here, and last win on the PGA Tour was at this place. So, I think we could see. Obviously, there's a lot of Sea Island bias, but I think we could definitely see that at G-Sig.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Sig's a good play. I think more of what just jumped out was just his history here, and then the way his form's been. I feel like he's kind of rounding back into some good play here. So 70-1 too is a good number. I mean, 60-1 on DraftKings. So you get a little bit of a better number there on FanDuel.
Do you have anybody else? I have one more because I've given 4, I think.
No, that was it for me. That's it for me.
Dude, I think we have to, just given the number, I can't believe I'm saying this, but 75-1 on FanDuel. Do we not play Nico Scheffler?
Seriously,
do we not bet that guy?
Yeah.
I mean, he T11 at the Black Desert to start his fall. I mean, he missed a cut at the Sanderson in Procore. Then he goes T11, gains 7 strokes on approach. Okay, misses the cut the next week, whatever. It's first win or second win, I guess, technically. Don't care. Zozo wins that for his second win, gaining 8 strokes on approach. T6 at the Worldwide Technology. I'm sure he probably had his greens and regulation number was fantastic. I don't have it in front of me. But at the Butterfield last week, where he finished 29th, he still finished 16th in greens and reg. Driving distance and driving accuracy, he was top 35, 36 in the field. 3 rounds in the 60s, 1 round in the 70s, like 8 under, like still hitting it well, I would imagine. So it's 75-1 for Nico. I don't know why, like 2-time winner now on the PGA Tour in this field. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, I looked at it too. I mean, I think it just seems a little bit interesting that that's where the number is for him too. So, I think that could shorten up early, as we get closer to this tournament, but not a lot. I mean, it's Tuesday, so
yeah. I don't have a ton. I mean, as you can tell, I just stopped at 75-1. There's one guy at a triple-digit number that I'll talk about here at a top 20 that interests me, but there's not a lot of these guys at triple digits that I'm super in love with. So I will say that. You should be in love with SoBet by now. Hopefully you've tried it. Now going on year 2, supporting the podcast. Our friends at SoBet are just absolutely crushing it these days. Everybody on the NFL and the college football side of SoBet are most people are killing it. So if you're not already involved, get in there, click the link in the description, download the app. It'll pre-fill with code TJ. You'll get the first month for $1, and every month after that is just, I believe it's $15 a month now. So 50 cents a day. It's all you got to do. 70 now plus handicappers, every sport possible, breaking it down, giving you logic behind their plays, unit values for each play, recapping when they win or lose. So it's the transparency is there. Okay. The trans movement hit SoBet years ago, and that's transparency. And that's what we love about our friends at SoBet. So hop in there. We'll drop some exclusive golf plays in there every week. And we appreciate them for supporting the show. Listen, we say it a lot throughout the year, but this being the last show of 2024, preview show, we'll see what happens for the rest of the year. But it is a big deal for you if you enjoy our content still. Now we're going on year 10. If you're not tired of us yet and you still enjoy our content, it is very helpful to support our partners, especially long-term partners like Swannies, like SoBet, like Bet the Number going on year 2. So that's a way that you can help us keep this thing rolling and keep doing some cool stuff. So more to come. We got some announcements here at the end of the show. Just maybe a little teaser or two that we'd like to kind of sprinkle on you to be aware of for 2025. But supporting partners like them is really important to us. So we'd encourage you to do that. Click the links in the description to check it out. And you can always cancel at any time and see if you don't like what you see there on SoBet, but we're pretty sure you will. Let's get on to the DFS side, Pat. Thinking about some chalk plays we like, thinking about some pivot plays we might be considering.
You wait. Do you want to do the top 20s or you wait?
Oh no, sorry, I skipped the top 20s.
Yeah.
No, my bad. Yeah, hit me with 2 of your locks.
All right, 2 locks here.
Or 2 here, I think.
2 locks. We didn't talk about this guy at all, and I think it's because we just don't think he can win.
Yeah, I got a couple of those.
But I feel like we can get him in the top 20, and that's Denny McCarthy at plus 130. That'll be my first.
Yeah, I have it. He's 138 on MGM. You get a
Mhm.
little extra dip there. I looked at Denny. It's interesting that because at first I was like, man, we haven't seen Denny since the fall, but last year when he played here, same thing. It was the only tournament he played. After the fall, and he finished fifth. He came out and finished fifth. So I mean, obviously his skill set is what you need here to win. I don't hate it. So I don't love it, but I don't hate it. At that same number, I think and it scares me, and I don't think I don't love him to win, especially in the wind and the cold, and possibly I could see him going we go home now because it's miserable. But Siwoo is currently 55th in the world golf ranking. He does not have a 2025 Masters exemption. I could totally see him earning it any way he wants to from January to Masters. But a solid finish would do well for him. A top 10, a top 5, I would imagine would squeak him in potentially, get him enough points to do well. The course does suit him. I do worry a little bit about the weather, and that's why I didn't pick him to win. But at top 20, he's the same number as Denny at plus 138.
I like it.
And he's that Masters invite.
Okay. Next guy is one of your absolute favorites. You love this guy. But he's got 2 second-place finishes here, DB. Mackenzie Hughes, plus 170 in the top 20. Yeah. He's had a good year, man.
He has, but again, he's still the same guy. You look around and you just go, how? How has he had a good year? I'm kind of debating between a couple guys here. He finished 8th last year here. What do you think about Austin Eckroat? Because his fall has been fairly. I mean, he's played twice, 46th, and then he won. I know he's a good win player. We know he's a good win player. He hits a lot of fairways.
Yeah,
can't putt.
I know he just won, but then he won Honda too, right? This year, 2 wins this year. Yeah. I like Eckroat a lot. As a matter of fact, in our Wednesday night chat a couple weeks ago when he won, I mentioned him in the chat as somebody I really thought was going to have a good week. Unfortunately, I didn't bet him. I really debated putting him on the card, and I did not. But I do think Eckroat is a really good player. And you're talking top 20. I don't know if he wins this week, but I think top 20 is certainly a good bet.
Yeah, I think I'm interested in that. Okay, I got a couple bonus ones here. I got one bonus shorter one and one bonus bomb. I got 2 bombs. I was looking at Glover too. I'm surprised neither one of us have mentioned Glover yet. Having a decent fall. He's currently on that world golf ranking bubble at 50. So if he can stay at 50 or better, he's in the Masters next year as well. Windy conditions, guy flushes it right out the middle, hits it in the fairway every time. Gotta love that for Lucas Glover. So plus 175 is the top 20 number for him on MGM. I also loved his comments about the whole, the new policies that were approved by the board on the PGA Tour. He went off. I loved seeing that from Lucas Glover. He was absolutely cooking, and I agree with every word he said. So good for him. So pulling for him just for that. Yeah. All right. Who's your bomb? I got 2 bombs.
I don't know why this guy this is more of just kind of a feel play for me, but I think Nick Hardy's going to have a good week. He's 4-1.
He needs it.
He does need it. He's been playing, fairly well, kind of inconsistent. Was T23 here last year. Does have a top 10 though this fall. Back at the Black Desert, he was T8. Shows up 29th in the BTN model, so I'll take Nick Hardy at plus 400.
All right, the guy that I almost, I don't know, and I might, he might end up on the Big Balls betting card at 175 to 1. Sea Island guy, absolute doofus. I never play this guy. This is DB's side saddle play of the week. Never play this guy, but I'm feeling a little Ben Coles. I'm feeling a little Ben Coles. It's getting Coles outside. Okay, he hits like 75% of his fairways. The iron play has been quite solid, especially in the fall. Been very consistent in the fall. The putting has been the issue, but I think Ben Coles is probably a better, more comfy Bermuda putter. And if you look at his RSM last year, T5 gained almost 3 shots putting. I'm looking at the Butterfield stats last week where he finished like T57. He was still T16 in greens and regulation, so iron still dialed. He was second in accuracy, so tee to green fantastic. Putting was okay. He's kind of middle of the road. T52, not great, but I think Ben Coles at 4-1 as a top 20 and 175-1 as an outright that'll be my play. I do have one more bonus bomb here, a top 20, and it's another Sea Island boy. And you wouldn't think he's a Sea Island boy, but he is. It's Will Gordon.
Will goodness.
He's played here. Taco Supreme. He's played here 4 times. He's got a T10, a T15, a T36, and a miscut at the RSM Classic. I don't know. He needs all the points and all the help he can get. He's actually hitting more fairways than you would believe for a guy who averages 185-mile-an-hour ball speed. His last 24 rounds, which essentially goes back to this entire fall swing, because he's played 6 events in the fall, made 3 cuts, missed 3. But his accuracy numbers are up. He's hitting 64% of his fairways, knows how to play these golf courses, and he's 8-1. That's what got me. I was like, I looked at Ben Coles and I was like, let me go all the way to the bottom and start from the bottom and see what kind of big number I can find for a top 20. Top 20, including ties on MGM, Will Gordon at 8-1, Sea Island boy with some good finishes here. Maybe you look at him at a top 40 if you don't feel great about it, and I bet it's still a good number. I just don't see those out yet.
Okay. All right. Not a name I was expecting to hear.
No?
I like it. I like old Taco Supreme.
Before we get into the DFS plays, Underdog 2025 PGA Tour season-long best ball has dropped, people. The scramble. There's a couple of them. This is the larger one. It's $10 entries, $500,000 in prizes. You got to get involved. You're gonna pick some guys for the 2025 season. We love the season-long best ball stuff at Underdog. Now, are we good at it? Absolutely not. But we love it. It's a lot of fun to draft those teams. Doing the draft is some of the best. That's the best part. And then you can sweat the teams. You can set it. You're setting it and forgetting it. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to manage rosters. And the Underdog best ball product is as good as it gets. And they've already got contests up for 2025. So you can go ahead and get in drafts. There's definitely some strategy behind it. So you need to pay attention to that. Maybe we'll do some content around that later on. But the link is in the description. As always, you got your round by round pick'ems that you can set up on Underdog. We like to drop a lot of those, especially for round 1 in the Discord. And if you sign up using our link, you get up to $250 in bonus cash deposited to your account, and kind of a freebie square-ish as well. So you can kind of start off earning some money, making some money on Underdog. Great place to do some DFS, some pick'ems, some best ball there on Underdog. Click the link in the description. All right, DFS, Pat. Any chalk games?
Hang on.
What do you got?
I got to stop the program. Okay. I got to stop the program.
Okay.
This guy, Stuart Spence, is in the chat, and he's on the beach in Zanzibar with a Long Island iced tea, loving the show as always. Wow. I got to shout out Stuart Spence here. Now, Do you know where Zanzibar is?
When I first read Zanzibar, I was thinking like West Africa somewhere.
I think you're right. I think it's somewhere. I think it's the other side. I think it's East Africa. I think it's like a little island somewhere off of the
with a Long Island. So somewhere with, can you look it up, Pat? If we had Tony here, we'd say, hey, producer Tony, look that up.
Here it is. I got it up. Zanzibar is a Tanzanian archipelago off the coast of East Africa.
Oh, nailed it.
Yeah.
Zanzibar.
How about that? That's awesome.
That is fantastic. Thank you.
I don't think we've ever had anybody in Zanzibar.
I'm pretty sure. If we go back and look in the analytics on the old podcast feed, we're not going to see a lot of dots in Zanzibar. But Stuart, tell your friends, okay? and a Long Island iced tea. Hey, let's hit it heavy tonight, Stu. Let's hit it heavy. Long Island, just put all the liquor in a thing and call it a tea. That's just what I love about Long Island.
Yeah.
Man, thank you to him.
Okay.
Zanzibar. I'm gonna have to mention that to my wife. She's traveled all over Africa and be like, yo, we got a listener in Zanzibar who fancies himself a nice, highly alcoholic liquor drink
on the beach.
DFS Chalk plays, starting top to bottom. I'm imagining you're going to say Ben Griffin. I think I prefer Power. I think Power's got higher floor. If I'm going to eat some chalk down here in the night, I'm definitely going balanced. I'm going to be pretty balanced. I think I'm not really touching a lot of the guys up top.
Yeah, I think Ben Griffin to me is the chalk that I love.
The first event since the knee surgery or whatever.
Yeah, I don't.
What if you get like a 12% Ludwig on Wednesday night?
I'd be looking at playing that for sure. I just have to. I mean, guys,
you have to. Yeah.
I think I could probably eat a little chalk on Davis Thompson. I just don't know if it's gonna be enough for me to get a lineup the way I want it to be with Davis. But definitely Ben Griffin. It's weird to think about that he won a few weeks ago, but could Poston be a potential pivot? Is he getting a lot of chalk love?
He might be kind of sandwiched between Griffin and Power. I don't know. That everybody knows he's a Sea Island guy.
Hasn't particularly played great here though.
No,
skipped a few years too, which was wait, I'm looking at the wrong one.
No, he did play well the year Spenson won, which is
he did, but a couple missed cuts in here.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think you could see a little bit of.
I think he could be squeezed a little bit between Siwoo and Griffin and Power. So maybe. We haven't talked about him, but if Cole doesn't get a lot of love, which I don't know what to think about Eric Cole in terms of what people will, if they'll like him or not. I don't know, but a guy who hits kind of a low bullet draw into these greens and with the wind situation here, I think favors this place. T3 last year, T6 at the Zozo last time out. I think Cole's interesting, but I don't know where he's going to fall. I mean, no telling. Same thing with Eckroat. I guess Eckroat should be a little more popular, I would imagine. I like this 8K range quite a bit. I mean, I like Novak, who I think will be popular. I like Glover. Spawns even, jumping out at me. So wherever it falls here, I'm perfectly fine to pivot to some of these guys and avoid the more chalky plays. But I like the 8K range a good bit.
Yeah, I would agree there. I mean, I think Eckroat's certainly interesting to me here in the 8K range. I like what you're talking about with Cole. I think if you get a less chalky Cole, I would certainly be jumping on that. Might just play him anyway. I think I'll play Mackenzie Hughes. I know you said you don't really particularly like him, but I think I will. I'm not playing Patrick Rogers though. Just gonna go ahead. Even though I side saddle it, I'm not gonna.
Who's your side saddle play? I'm
not gonna play Patrick.
Is it Michael Kim? I think he's a side saddle play. Svensson and Sig for me are the two chalk plays here. Now, can I play those with like Seamus and Ben Griffin? Probably can only take two of those because then I think you're going to start to get quite chalky if you do that. But Sig at 73 is going to be mega chalk, and that may be room to that. I don't know. That's going to be tough. But Svensson, I think is going to be popular too. But I like both of those guys a lot. If I'm going to consider eating some chalk in this range, I like those guys. And then if Nico, I'm not going to play Nico if he's chalk. But if he's not, I'm all over that.
Yeah.
That's it for me in terms of the chalk plays. You got anybody else?
I think for me in terms of chalk, hang on, I got my screen all screwed up now. In this 7K range, I agree. I think Sig's going to be one that I'm going to be playing. I think Justin Lauer's probably going to have a little bit of chalk. I mean, the guy's been playing lights out. I know he's missed a cut every time he's played here, but
yeah,
he's still he's just playing really strong right now. So I think he could have a little bit of chalk to him as well. And I wouldn't mind just continuing to ride that heater that he's on. I think that's it for me as far as the chalk in here.
All right, let's talk pivots. like as I said, I mean, with some of those guys in the 8K range, potentially with JT Poston, if they're pivots, that's fine. But most of my pivots are in the 7 and 6K range. The first one for me is old PK, is old Patton Kazire, and he will be a pivot, even though he's the Island Mafia. Hasn't done much since he won earlier in the fall at the Pro Tour. I guess he backed it up with a good finish, but he's kind of sucked since then. But hits plenty of fairways, good around the greens and on the greens, makes birdies when he's hot. I think Kazire is an interesting play. He's definitely your prototypical tournament GPP low pivot play that's just going to be so boom or bust.
Yeah. I got a guy in the 9K range that I think is going to be. I know he's going to be a pivot, and I don't know why. I'm just feeling this guy, Matt Wallace at 9,000.
Oof.
I think he's going to be a super low end 9K guy. I mean, it's just, he shows up okay in the BTN model. He's 34th there. Now, I'd haven't looked to see how he's been playing because I don't see any tournaments here in the fall, but I'm pretty sure he's been playing overseas some. And I need to look to see what he's been doing there. But I think 9K Matt Wallace is certainly going to be super low owned and could be a decent pivot play. He's the one I've got my eye on. I think in the 7K range, I'm looking at guys like I think Taylor Moore is a good pivot, 7,500. Has a T8 here a few years ago. Couple good finishes in the fall with 11th at the Zozo, 29th at the Shriners. I think Taylor Moore is interesting at 7,500.
I don't hate Moore. He's definitely he feels a lot like Kazire to me. Like very boomer bust, could go absolutely nuclear and could eject quite quickly here.
Yeah. What do you think about, in that Kazire range, Carson Young here at 7,200? I think he could be another good pivot play too.
Not my favorite play, but I like it. I'm going to Coles at 7K, I've already talked about. So Coles and Kazire for me are two 7K pivots. And then in the 6K, I have two as well. One of them I've already talked about. Will Gordon is pretty cheap somewhere down here in the 6K range. I can't even find it, but I've already talked about him. He's 6,500. And then our boy Austin Smotherman. We've hung out with Austin at this course, watched him play it, watched him pick it apart. If it weren't for poor putting, he'd probably have much better finishes here. But he has made the cut 2 out of 3 years, T40, T53. Missed the cut in 2022. But the guy continues to hit the driver really well, hits his irons really well, flushes it there. So if this isn't a minus 29 type year, which I don't think it's going to be, and it's more of a 19 to 22 under type year, I think that suits Smotherman a little bit better, not having to make everything. I think this will be a good spot for him in the windy conditions, just because he's a flusher. He's a Texas dude that flushes it with the irons and off the tee. So I'll go Smo.
Yeah, I like Smotherman. I think I'll add in our boy Joel Damon too. I think Joel Damon needs a good week. He's played well.
He's bubble boy right now. Or no, sorry, he's won. What is he? He's 124.
Yeah.
Wesley Bryan 125. Joel Damon 124. Henrik Nolander 126. By the way, a couple local guys there on the bubble to get full status. So Damon's got to have a good week.
He does, and I think he's going to have a good week. So he'll be another one that I think could be a pivot down there. By the way, shout out Spaz in the chat, giving us the knowledge that Wallace has been playing well on over in Europe this fall. So
love to see it. I'm kind of a Matt Wallace guy. I like to play Matt Wallace. All right, let's talk about our Thursday night football and golf parlays before we get out of here with a few closing thoughts on 2024 and looking ahead to 2025. And I do have to say, Pat, last time we did this, which was not last week, but the week before, like I said, I don't remember what tournament that was. Was it the Zozo? Was it Zozo? What? I don't even remember. Let's see. Yeah, it was a Zozo. Your boy. Actually, we hit all of our anytime touchdown bets. You had one, or no, we each had two, but we both had Derrick Henry. You hit your Jamar Chase. I hit my Chase Brown. So we had all three of our anytime touchdown bets. Whoever you had, you missed on the golf side. But I hit Harry Hicks, top 40, with the Derrick Henry and Chase Brown Tutter to give you a plus 536 parlay. Checked it off the box. We finally hit one this fall. Those are fun, and that was a good one. So now that I've come off of one, of course, what am I going to do? Am I going to be responsible with that?
No.
I am literally about to triple it.
Oh yeah, there you go.
We're about to go nuts, go ape shit. All right, you hit me with yours first.
All right. Mine's close to what yours was. You said plus 536 is what you hit. This is plus 587. Okay. And we're going to do, look, I'm proud of my dogs getting a big win in Athens over this weekend against the Vols. You were at the game. I know you had a great time. Yeah. And thank you for your service and pulling them through.
I was yelling at Carson Beck a lot pregame.
I'm sure you were. And you did a good job because he played his best game probably of the year. So I'm going with two dogs in this one. I'm going to go with Harris English, top 20 at plus 150. And then I'm going Nick Chubb, plus 175, anytime touchdown score. Nick Chubb's kind of, they're easing him back in after that terrible injury that he had. His first game back a few weeks ago, he did have a touchdown. The guy's, he's lost a little bit, but we know Nick Chubb. That guy is a beast. And especially you get him near the goal line, he's going to get a touchdown. So plus 175, Nick Chubb, plus 150, top 20 Harris English. That is plus 587. So $25 would win you $171, DB.
I love the dogs. I love the dogs tie in there. Let's ride the momentum. Let's make it a dog kind of a week. I got a half dog. Mine's a half dog. And I'm going a little ballsier in the odds because the odds are longer than your boy Harris English. But let's be honest, if we were handicapping this thing ourselves, would Grayson Sigg's top 20 number be that much different than Harris English's top 20 number, considering the way Grayson Sigg's been playing, considering also his record here and connections to Sea Island? I don't think it would be.
Probably not. I mean, Harris English is going to get a little bit. He's going to be shorter just because of the name and how long he's been out there and the history and all that. But yeah, I agree.
And his overall upside's obviously been high, So I'm going Grayson Sigg, top 20, including ties, which is a little bit longer than we normally do on these. But where it really gets wild is, that I love me some Jameis Winston. God, I love Jameis Winston. How can you not love Jameis Winston?
Yeah.
Okay? But one of the reasons why you love Jameis Winston is because the dude just chucks it like he's playing, neighborhood tackle football at 11 years old. He's just chucking it. And he doesn't have a whole lot of good receiving options. And this Pittsburgh defense is no joke. It was on full display against the Ravens. Ravens probably should have won that game. Justin Tucker screwed him up. But the Pittsburgh D is for real. It's for real. And I think they're going to get an anytime touchdown here. I'm going Pittsburgh defense, special teams with the anytime touchdown, along with the Grayson Sigg top 20 to give me plus 1464, almost 15 to 1 is how we're going to go out on this thing. Listen, if you're riding with me and you're in YouTube, squad up, squad up. Let me know yes or no on that, and tell me what you think. If you don't like that, what else do you like? Hit the like button, subscribe as well if you've not already. Pat, what do you think about that one? The Pittsburgh, this is going to be a pick six. This is going to be James Winston chucking it. It's a pick six or it's a fumble somewhere, scoop and score. The Pittsburgh D is feeling themselves right now, so I'm going with that.
Yeah, I don't mind it. It's tough to get a defensive touchdown, but
it's like
I would say
or something on its own.
I was going to say I didn't know. I wondered what it was on its own, but still, you're right. Jameis is going to throw one up. He's going to have an interception, and or just get a little, sack, fumble, recovery, touchdown, something like that. He's a big dude, but still, you can get him down. Okay.
Yeah. All right, let's just let's get out of here with a few things, Pat. I think we should let the folks. I want to let the folks in on a couple little potential things happening in 2025. And if we have any thoughts on 2024, and we may do another show here in 2024 in the off season. Sometimes we've done the hero thing, the Hero World Challenge, because we start missing you guys, missing each other. We may do some other sort of content. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, we got a potential interview lined up that we've been wanting to do. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So be on the lookout. Don't completely disregard the feed for the rest of 2024. Of course, we will be back in January for the Tournament of Champions, or Tournament of some Champions, whatever it is now, the Century. So we'll get things rolling with that. And there will be some changes. There's going to be some changes to how 2025 looks in terms of Tour Junkies world. We will make those changes very clear and announce that to everybody. But there's going to be some changes. This year was a fun year, but it was a difficult year for me and Pat in a lot of ways on the personal side. So we got to make some changes based on some of that. But we are excited about a couple things. Number one, partners like SoBet, Bet the Number coming back, Swanee's coming back for 2025. Really excited about all that, and also a couple of Tour Junkies excursions that we would like to invite the people on.
Yeah,
and we don't have all the details yet. It's not all hammered out yet, and it's not. I guess we should say it's not 100%, but it's almost. Would you agree, Pat?
Yeah, I would say 99.8, somewhere around in there.
Good. I can't believe you didn't use an even number there. Is 99?
I did at the end. I get the last number.
Even though? Is it even though? This 99? Is 99.8?
0.8.
I know, but it's 99.
I go by the last number. So that's what I do.
What should you go with? I don't even know. It's a good question. All right. So the first thing is, and this one we have the least amount of. This one is probably the most up in the air, but it's close. July 20th through the let's call it the 7th, the week after the Open Championship, which will be in Northern Ireland. We are looking to round up some Tour Junkies listeners that would love to go play Ireland, go play some golf in Ireland with myself and Pat and a few other Tour Junkies friends. So all I will say is, if you've ever wanted to go play Ireland, this would be a great time to do it. It's going to be a heck of a trip. We got some great courses lined up. Details to come, more details to come. But I would say this, to look at those dates and start planning around them. The 20th through the 27th or so of July. Don't book your family vacation. If you need to request off early, go ahead and do it. Make sure you start, massaging it with the spouse to make sure you're good to go. Do whatever you got to do. Let her go on her trip or whatever she wants to do, so you can work that in, because it's going to be a fantastic trip to go play some golf in Ireland. I can't wait. That'll be the first thing. The second one is Ryder Cup. We all know Ryder Cup is coming next year to Bethpage. That's going to be absolutely electric in the New York, in the great state of New York. And we've got a partner who's excited to bring a Tour Junkies listener experience to that event. Hearing rumblings about potentially really going balls to the wall if you want to, where it's like, have a day at the Ryder Cup, go to a Jets or Giants game and a Yankees game all in the same weekend, which would be insane. There will be a lot of different packages available for that one. Probably something as simple as just like going to the Ryder Cup for a day with us, but also looking to maybe play some golf, doing some of those other things around that area is going to be a lot of fun. Lodging and all that stuff's being figured out. But yeah, I would say that as well, to kind of block off the Ryder Cup weekend as a potential really good Tour Junkies trip. That one is pretty much locked in. We just don't have a lot of the details yet. So plan on the Ryder Cup. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I cannot wait for both of those things. I just can't imagine how crazy Bethpage is going to be for the Ryder Cup. It's one that you got to be at. We've said since we were in Hazeltine, we both have said we've been to Georgia National title games. We've been to some great Masters. We've been to all of it. Nothing quite lives up to what the Ryder Cup is, and we know it'll be great in Bethpage. So I think the thing too, like you're saying, we got these trips. You're looking at July, you're looking at September. You got a plan. Go ahead and get it. Get it going. If your wife wants to go to Tahiti in April, then let her go to Tahiti, or if she want whatever she wants to do. Because then you're back. You got to turn around and say, all right, well, you slide in Ireland, or Bethpage. So be thinking about that now. When you're thinking about Christmas. Yeah. There's this big family trip that you might want to, plan. Well, obviously you got to plan that later.
Yeah. Yeah. We all know what it's like to play the long game here with this, fellas. You got to play the long game. That's why we're giving you the heads up now, so you can start playing the long game. The Ryder Cup experiences are probably going to be pretty readily available, I would imagine. The Ireland trip is going to be quite limited. So you need to get in when you can, when that's announced, when that's released. And it's going to be a little bit. It's not going to, we'll have details sooner than later, but you won't be able to actually sign up for that trip until later on in the golf season in 2025, but you're going to want to make sure you're ready to go. If you have questions or you want to go ahead and say like, man, put me on a list, I need to know as soon as it's ready. You can email us info@tourjunkies.com and let us know that you're up for the Ireland thing. You don't have to do that for the Ryder Cup experience, but for the Ireland thing, if you're like, please God, do not let me miss this opportunity, email us and let us know. We'll put you on a list to make sure you're one of the first ones notified, and we'll go from there. But it is going to be a great time, and that one will be more limited.
Yeah.
Anything else, Pat, you want to cover for 2024, 2025?
No, I mean, I think I'm excited about the year coming up. Excited about some of the things that we got going on with BTN and that partnership. And I'm looking forward to a good 2025. We need it. We need a good one. So
yeah. We need to hit some bets in 2025 too.
I know that was another thing.
We didn't hit a lot.
I'm kind of glad you glossed over that, because that when I saw this on there, I'm thinking, are we going to talk about how our year was when it came to betting?
It's hey, look, strokes gained home life carries over into the outrights.
It does.
It was definitely the worst. It was the worst strokes gained home life I've had in 10 years of doing this, and it was the worst year of outright betting I've had in doing this. For sure.
Yeah. Well, I think I can say ditto on that for me.
Retweet.
Yeah.
Listen, but we appreciate everybody riding with us, sticking it out. If you're listening to this show, you're truly a diehard, especially if you're still in here in an hour in to this show. We appreciate it. And we ask you to stick around, keep an eye on the feed for the rest of the season, the rest of the year. We may drop a couple extra episodes just covering whatever we want to talk about, but stay tuned. We'll announce some changes coming to 2025 and get ready for the first week of January. Until then, for the RSM Classic, may your screens be green and bend over ya bucky. See ya. Out.